Using some of the effects that we have in layers in Photoshop, we can do some pretty cool things. So let's build a pillowcase mock-up using some of the effects in layers. So let's begin by first creating a file that is, so new, Command N, that is 3000 by 3000 at 300 pixels per inch, RGB, we're good. And I'll just zoom in, Command plus, and there we have it. Now I'm going to just bring a vertical guide in, and I'm going to bring a horizontal guide in, and it snaps to the center. So there we have it. Now I am going to grab an image. Let's grab our elephant here. If I paste him in here, you'll see it's actually a fairly large image, and upscaling it a little bit isn't going to hurt because it's almost full size. If it were a tiny little image, just say somewhere here in the middle, and we scaled it all the way up to fill this, the quality is going to be like crap. This is going to be just fine because it's so close. So let's scale it. Let's go Edit, Transform, and Scale. I'm not going to show you a shortcut for this because I think different versions of Photoshop have different shortcuts for scaling, and I built my own custom shortcut. So let's center this image first, because it snaps to the center, but you can see how the handle is here, and here's the center of the image. So now I'm going to scale it so that we don't have these white bars. And I've already selected Edit, Scale. So now I'm going to click this little link here, and now over here you can see where the reference point is for scaling. I'm going to have it on the center. That means it's going to scale outward. If I would click the top left, it would scale down and to the right, and so on and so on. So we want it in the center. So I've clicked this link. So that means that width and height are linked. I'm going to go into width, and by using the up arrow, I can increase it by 1% increments, but I'm going to hold down Shift and increase it in 10% increments. And there we have a nice image. Now I'm going to bring it down by 1 and just see how much we can get away with. So there we go. It looks like about 126%. I'll double click now to confirm my selection, or I can hit Enter on the keyboard, and now it's selected. Now I'm going to choose the Move tool, which is V on the keyboard, and I'm just going to bring it over to here. So there's our image. Now I'm going to go and find another image, and well, look at that, I found one. I'm going to copy it, bring it over here, and anytime we paste, it pastes above the layer that's selected. So let's click the background layer, because I want this to be pasted below the elephant. So now I'm using Command V to paste. I'm going to turn off, I'm going to make the elephant invisible so I can see how much this needs to be enlarged to get rid of the white bars. Again, Edit, Transform, and Scale. I'm going to drag it to the center. It snaps to the center. I want that centered. I want to click the link so it stays proportional, and then Shift and up arrow to enlarge it. And now without the Shift, I'm going down in 1% increments with the arrows, and there we have it. Let me just, okay. So this isn't an ideal image because the elephant's going to be floating above this field a little bit, but at least I can give you the idea of what we can do here with some of these layer effects. Okay, so now we've got layer 1, which is the elephant. We can rename it elephant and rename this a tree or whatever we want, but for these purposes, I'm just going to carry on. So now I want to show you what some of these things do up here on the top of your layers palette. In another video, we'll deal with the bottom of the layers palette, but right now we're dealing with the top. So we can lock layers. Now the elephant layer is locked, means we can't move it, and we click the lock icon and it's unlocked. This one here you can see is locked, but that's a background layer. Even though it shows the lock icon, it doesn't have it highlighted here, and that's because it's a default Photoshop background. You need to double click it to unlock it, and it's done. But let's just get rid of it, and to delete it, you can drag it to the trash icon, but we'll cross that bridge later. But I like to just right click on it and choose delete layer. So now I have these two layers. So I'm going to select the uppermost layer, and you can adjust your opacity. I'm holding down Shift and using the down arrow. You can adjust your opacity, to do some kind of collage effect. That's the official term, and for me it is. And we'll go back to 100%. Now, there's another thing you can do, and you see this normal drop down that says normal on it. I don't mean it's a normal drop down, but if I click on it, you'll see there's many groups of things that you can do in here. These gray lines separate the groups. These kind of all do similar things. These do similar things. These do similar things. So between the gray lines, they're all variations of kind of the same thing. But you'll see sometimes you get quite a different effect. So let's try darken. So that's totally different than adjusting the opacity. So you can go through and do multiply. You can get some great effects. That's pretty cool. You can do color burn. But you see how these are all kind of doing variations of the same thing. Now we're going to move into the next category, which is lighten. And that adjusts. It's kind of the opposite. It's dealing with, instead of the it's dealing with the, let's see, how does this work? The darken deals with the darker colors, and the lighten, I guess, deals with the lighter colors. So you can see that the effects are completely different, but yet within this group they're all very similar, but completely different than the first group. Now let's go down to overlay. Overlay is a cool one. You can do a lot of neat things. I'd say probably 80% of the time I'll end up using overlay or soft light. Now that is a pretty neat collage. And we'll go soft light. And you can just work your way through and experiment with these. They're a lot of fun. Difference is going to give you a kind of a negative effect. So there's, you can color it. There's a lot of cool things that you can do. Let's just go back to normal for now. So you see that there's really no end to the special effects that you get just from this drop down. That's a great thing in layers. And again, it will always affect the layer that you're on. It doesn't affect the entire file. Like, not all of the layers within the file are affected by this setting. You can in fact do overlay for this one. You could do darken for this one. I'm not sure what this will do because there's no layer behind it. But you see, when I click on it, it shows darken. When I click on this one, it shows overlay. I've got different effects on each layer. So have fun with that. And you can even combine that with dropping the opacity down and doing whatever you want. So have fun with these, because they will make you look like an artist even when you're wondering what to do with an image.